With claws as sharp as daggers, jaws strong enough to crush bone, and a nose that can track prey across miles, the grizzly bear is more than a predator. It is a force of nature. Towering over the wilderness, it carries an aura that demands both fear and respect. Every creature of the wild, from the stealthy wolf to the towering moose, hesitates when the grizzly steps into view. But behind this massive frame lies not only brute strength, but strategy, intelligence, and an instinct honed over millennia. Grizzlies are survival machines, capable of adapting to the harshest conditions, and when they go savage, the world around them trembles. Today, we step deep into the wilderness to witness the most shocking grizzly bear encounters ever caught on camera. From savage fights against packs of wolves and dogs, to relentless battles with moose, and even raw confrontations that leave humans stunned in silence, these are not just fights. They are glimpses into the primal laws that govern life in the untamed world. Each moment is unscripted. Each fight reveals something deeper about survival, intelligence, and the balance of power that defines the wild. This is not just a story of predators and prey. It is a reflection of nature itself, raw, unfiltered, and unforgettable. Fight 1. Grizzly versus dog pack. The tundra stretched silent, a canvas of snow and shadow. Then, in an instant, a shape emerged. A lone brown bear, dark and massive, its fur a silhouette against the white expanse. The stillness broke like glass. From the edges of the terrain, a pack of grey dogs reacted. They did not panic. They did not scatter. Instead, they moved with precision, spreading across the snow like soldiers on a battlefield. Their discipline was instinctive, their unity unshakable. The bear growled, a low rumble rolling through the frozen air. But the dogs pressed closer, snapping at its legs, forcing the giant to turn and pivot. Each strike was sharp, targeted, and fast. Alone, no dog could face the bear. Together, they became a storm of movement, circling with relentless rhythm. Seconds turned heavy, the tide shifted, the bear's immense power met the unyielding persistence of many. Yet this was no chaotic clash, it was strategy, almost choreographed. The dogs fainted, retreated, then surged again, forcing the bear to waste energy at every turn. Still, the grizzly was no ordinary opponent. Massive shoulders swung, claws slashing through the air. With every pivot, it adapted. Its growls were not cries of fear, but of defiance. The tundra became an arena, strength versus strategy, survival against survival. Finally, the balance snapped. The bear, bruised but unbroken, held ground long enough to turn the pack's rhythm into hesitation. The circle broke. The dogs scattered, retreating to the edges of the white plain. Here, in the stark wilderness of the north, the lesson was written clearly. Power alone may stumble, but unity without dominance cannot hold. Survival favours not only the strongest, but those who adapt in the moment. Fight 2. Grizzly versus moose scene. 1. Glacier National Park. At Glacier National Park, the calm of a shallow lake shattered. A mother moose stood with her calf, unaware of the silent shadow advancing through the tree line. Then from the brush, the grizzly emerged. Heavy, deliberate, a predator on the move. The moose froze only for a heartbeat. Then instinct surged. With head lowered and muscles coiled, she charged. The grizzly reeled, surprised by the sudden defiance. The chase spilled across water and land, the mother pressing forward with a fury born not of strength alone, but of maternal instinct. For a moment, the predator was prey. The grizzly fled across the road, scattering startled onlookers as it vanished into the woods. It was a rare sight, the giant forced back by the courage of a mother. Scene 2, Alaska's Alagnak River. But not every moose wins. In Alaska's Alagnak River, the scene unfolded differently. A moose stood chest deep in the shallows, its massive frame slowed by water. From the bank, a brown bear surged forward, charging with raw determination. The clash was brutal. The moose kicked, hooves thrashing, but the river robbed it of agility. Each movement became heavy, sluggish. The grizzly closed in, claws raking, jaws snapping. The outcome was inevitable. In these shallow waters, the terrain favoured the bear. Predator and prey were locked in combat, but the current itself tipped the scale. Moments later, the river ran still again. The bear stood dominant. Scene 3, Northern Lake Chase. Far to the north, another drama played differently. A massive bull moose thundered through swampy ground, and behind it a grizzly lunged, sending water surging into the air. For minutes, the chase roared across the marsh. But this was not a battle of claws and teeth. It was a test of endurance. The moose, capable of reaching 35 miles per hour and maintaining that speed longer than any bear, pulled ahead. Each powerful stride carried it further from danger. At last, exhaustion forced the grizzly to stop. Chest heaving, it retreated to shore, watching as the moose disappeared into the wilderness. Lesson: the grizzly is powerful, but power alone does not decide the outcome. In the wilderness, victory often belongs to terrain, endurance, or sheer will. Sometimes the predator wins, sometimes the prey survives, but always the balance hangs by a fragile thread. Fight 3: Grizzly versus Wolves. Scene 1. The silent standoff. Dawn broke over the frozen forest. 2 wolves crouched over a hard-earned kill, their breaths misting in the cold. But from the shadows came a presence, a grizzly, towering, twice the weight of both wolves combined. It did not charge, it did not roar. It simply walked forward, calm, deliberate. Presence was enough. One wolf snarled, lips curled, but a single step from the bear ended the defiance. In these woods, dominance was measured not by violence, but by arrival. Scene 2. Wolverine, wolves, and the bear. Elsewhere in northern Europe, a wolverine gnawed on a carcass, jaws snapping bone with ease. But then the forest stirred. A grizzly approached, capable of consuming 100 pounds of meat in a single sitting. The wolverine scattered. Yet before the bear could feast, another sound filled the forest. Wolves, 10 of them, emerged. They did not rush. They circled, pressing closer, testing the bear's resolve. For minutes, the giant resisted. But relentless unity wore it down. At last, the bear retreated with scraps, while the wolves claimed what remained. Scene 3. Wolves versus 2 grizzlies. On the open plains, a fallen bison became a battlefield. 2 grizzlies stood over the carcass, unwilling to yield. The wolves circled, restless, their numbers promising confidence. But the bears held firm. Each swipe of their massive paws reminded the wolves that courage has limits. Finally, the pack melted back into the shadows. Scene 4. Yellowstone Valley. Clash in Yellowstone. Silence trembled. A lone grizzly crossed the valley. From the tree line, wolves emerged, silent, coordinated, precise. The bear rose to its hind legs, towering, warning, but the pack pressed closer. The clash erupted, heavy swipes, lunges, relentless bites. The bear fought back with ferocity, but the wolves advanced with strategy and timing. Each second carried tension. Finally, the bear shifted course, not fleeing, but yielding ground, retreating to the shelter of trees. Lesson: in these battles, raw power met relentless persistence. Sometimes the bear triumphed, sometimes the wolves claimed victory. The truth of the wilderness is simple. Survival does not always belong to the strongest, but to those who endure together. Fight 4. Grizzly and humans. On a snowy highway in Alberta, a vehicle slowed. From the white expanse, a grizzly mother appeared, 3 cubs at her side. For a moment, the scene was peaceful, almost serene. Then she turned. In a heartbeat, her massive frame lunged forward, snow spraying beneath her paws. The car froze, its passengers breathless. For an instant, danger felt inevitable. But the charge stopped just short. It was not an attack, it was a warning, a primal display of protection. Her growls echoed across the road, not of rage, but of instinct, the unbreakable bond of a mother defending her young. Moments later, she turned, guiding her cubs back into the forest. The silence of winter returned, but no one who witnessed that moment would ever forget the raw unpredictability of the wild. Lesson: the grizzly is not a monster. It does not kill without reason. Its power is balanced by instinct, its savagery by protection. In the end, what defines the grizzly is not cruelty, but survival. From the frozen tundras to the forests of Yellowstone, from rivers to highways, grizzlies reveal a truth older than humanity itself. Survival is never simple. We watched as dogs tested the limits of unity against brute strength. We saw moose challenge bears with maternal courage, or escape with sheer endurance. We witnessed wolves pressing with relentless strategy, sometimes claiming victory, sometimes conceding to dominance. And we glimpsed the power of instinct when a mother bear defended her cubs with a warning charge that shook the winter silence. Each encounter is more than a fight. It is a lesson written into the wilderness. Strength is nothing without strategy. Unity can outweigh dominance. Terrain can shift the balance in an instant. And sometimes wisdom lies not in fighting, but in retreat. Grizzlies are not just savage predators. They are survivors, thinkers, guardians. Their presence reminds us of the raw and unfiltered intelligence that governs nature. If these encounters stirred your imagination, stay with us for more journeys into the untamed. Like, comment and subscribe, not just for another video, but to keep walking the hidden paths of the wild.